I'm calling to order the November meeting of the Economic Development Commission at 7:08. First item on the agenda is the approval of the October minutes. Everybody should have a copy as well as the addendum of the minutes. Can I have a motion?
Take a motion.
In favor? A second?
Second.
All in favor? It's unanimous. Great. Proceeding to item 2 on the agenda, I just wanted to announce that the next in the series of the Wisdom of Woodbridge will be curated by our first selectman, Ellen Scalatar, is this coming Tuesday, November 17th at the JCC. I neglected to put a time. I think it's at 7?
7.
Okay. And we'll feature Commissioner Robert Klee from the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. And the topic of conversation is Talking Trash, Recycling Revisited, which should be pretty fascinating because there was an article recently, I think in the New York Times, that said the economics of recycling don't make sense. But we'll see what the Commissioner has to say for all citizens who care to attend the meeting. The talk. We have 2 invited guests this evening. I know we have one who's here, so we're going to call her up. And this didn't. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
didn't make it on the. Made it on the. This is not the revised minutes. Agenda. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. Where do I?
You can sit here.
Okay. My name is Alexis Zielinski, and I'm in business here in the town of Woodbridge. I am an electrologist, and my business is called ABC Electrology. I have been in business for a little over a year, and I work with someone else, with another electrologist who has been in business for more than 40 years. We are located on June Street. So I would like to explain a little bit about what.
So, and June Street's in Woodbridge, right?
Yes, in Woodbridge. It's a small street on Amity Road, off of Amity Road, right in the commercial area with the restaurants, but in an office building a slightly off of, just a little bit out of the way there.
So it's right behind the Amity Teen Center, I think, or diagonally behind it, or near.
Yeah, right near the. If you are standing facing Stop and Shop, it's. The June Street is right directly to the right of
TD
Stop
Bank.
and Shop.
There's TD Bank over there.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah.
Great. So do you want to explain what you do?
Okay. Electrolysis is a type of permanent hair removal. It is the only kind of permanent hair removal that's FDA approved. And it's for people. Not everyone is a good candidate for laser hair removal, and you need to have dark hair and light skin for it to be effective, and it's still not safe to use on every body part. Electrolysis works it treats individual hairs one follicle at a time, and using a combination of using either radio waves, which generate heat, or electrical waves, which are a catalyst for a chemical reaction. And what they do is they break down the germ cells in the bottom of the hair follicle. I have a diagram here. I'm not sure how easy that is to see.
That's fine.
Okay, well, all right. If you can see this, I work with very fine, what are called probes. They're the same diameter as the hair here. And they don't actually pierce the skin, but they slide into the hair follicle, and the needles go to the base of the hair follicle, and the idea is to kill the hair germinating cells. So I use either electricity or radio waves, or a combination of the two. And it's a lot of people have hair that they want to get rid of. Like a lot of women will suddenly discover they have like a few hairs on the side of their face where they're getting a mustache. Or some men might want to have the sides of their beards trimmed. Some women have excessive hair growth called hirsutism, and there might be a number of reasons for that, hormonal or just genetic. or certain change, certain hormonal changes such as puberty or menopause. It is appropriate. It's not something that I would. It's appropriate for older teenagers and beyond that, pretty much anybody. There are very few people who aren't good candidates for electrolysis.
Great. How long have you been an electrolyst?
I've been an electrolysis for a little more than 2 years.
Great.
I've been doing this for a little more than 2 years.
And how long in Woodbridge were you have been here?
I've been in Woodbridge for a little more than a year.
And are you partners with the other firm? Because I was looking up, I was a little confused.
No, we have separate.
Oh, okay,
We're separate business entities.
Okay, located in the same, both at June Street?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're sharing space.
Okay.
Yes,
Alternating.
we share an office.
Right.
So
Okay, gotcha.
So have the two of you been here in Woodbridge at the same time, or were one of you here first and the other one?
my colleague was here first. She's been here for 40 years.
4 years?
40.
40.
40.
4-0. Okay, and how about the clientele? Are they from all over, from Woodbridge?
All over South Central Connecticut. It's a very convenient location because it's right off of the highway, and it's private, so it's not like you're parked right next. Some people would rather not have other people know that they go to an electrologist, and it's private. There's parking, and it's a quiet office building.
Has she always been in the building on June Street?
I think for a few years she was in another building, but she's been in this location for decades.
Is there a lot of competition in the area, or is?
No, not really. Everybody sort of serves their own little unique clientele. Some people might be more convenient to 91, and so they have businesses there or in other towns. I don't know. What else?
Do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website. It's abcelectrology.com.
And how are people finding out about you?
Well, I'm listed on, I have a website, and I'm trying to do, I'm getting word of mouth, and I will probably run some social media promotions.
Great. So how do people, if they want to sign up for a social, so that you'll contact them with a social media program, how are they going to find you? Or you're just going to, if they go to your website, can they?
Well, right now I'm not running any sort of promotion,
Okay.
But you can go to my website and you can find all of my contact information there. You can reach me by phone at any time.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to Woodbridge.
Thank you.
We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
We're looking to meet as many businesses as possible, and to give as many businesses as possible the opportunity to present to us, which means because we're televised, you present to the Woodbridge community.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you got my email, she's not coming.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, oh, okay. That was
get
about 4:30.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure, okay.
unfortunately, she's not coming.
Okay.
So I do have a list, I have the updated list of the businesses. I didn't know, I emailed it to you.
No, I've
Okay.
been running around. So I have to,
Because the other person's not here, you had emailed out my outdated list. So I didn't know if you wanted to review the updated list.
So this is the EDC Meet the Business.
Right,
Okay. Sure.
I didn't know if you wanted to do that now or
No, we
another.
can.
Okay. Only because we have some time.
Right.
That's the updated list to what you have there. So,
Just read this list.
yes. So I will be more prompt and, again, just to make sure that this is public record to,
Yeah, absolutely.
who we have,
So-
who we've invited. I've taken the list that we last distributed, updated that to the businesses that have attended to date, the businesses that we've confirmed, businesses we've invited but no reply, and the last section is on the back of that, businesses that are to be invited that have come out of specifically the last meeting. And the last meeting, we had some discussion, and between Jody and Jeremy and Kate and Betsy, we've gotten lots of businesses. One suggestion I have is that we maybe think about going to 3 per in the interest of what just happened tonight, because
Yeah.
the businesses, and I'm finding this more and more, they're very interested,
Uh-huh.
but very often could have a
Yeah.
last minute conflict like happened tonight. I mean, clearly she wanted to be here, but at
Right.
4:30, she
Right.
texted me from her phone, so clearly there was,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
So I know, Herb, you were concerned last time about having 3, so I wanted to bring that up for discussion to say, you know, if we have 3, I think we'll have a really good chance that we'll have 2.
Right, right.
But if we have 3, do we have time for 3? So, you know, I don't know how everybody feels about that.
I think we'll have time for 3. I mean, I think that what's happening, oh, thank you, you don't have to, if you can stay if you want.
I wasn't sure.
You can stay, but you don't have to stay.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. I think we should, knowing how much you've worked to get businesses here, I think let's go with 3,
Okay.
and knowing that 80% of the time we'll probably drop down to 2, is my guess, looking what's happened the past few months.
I mean, because there's a lot of interest.
No,
And-
but
and-
each month Jamie's
Yeah.
invited people, and then the last minute
Yeah.
they drop off, and so then he's left to scramble, and that's just not really fair.
Okay, so, so then going forward, we've already confirmed 2 for December, and then the third one, the Air Temple Arts is very interested in December, hasn't firmed it up, but again, maybe Coachman, if if Air Temple doesn't confirm, and Coachman is interested. I mean, everybody I've reached out to is very, very interested. Crest was very interested, but couldn't do November because of a travel conflict, and everybody I've reached out to, Shelley, to JCC. So we've got, a really good backlog, I'm happy to say, from where we were 2 months ago. I mean, we're literally, I'm looking at, February.
Great.
The one question I have is, we only have our calendar through December.
Right.
So do you have just tentative for January,
I will
February?
look at it in the next week or 2, and I'll get you the
Okay.
proposed dates.
I'm just tentatively saying the
right.
second Thursday of the month, but because we haven't confirmed the schedule.
I know February, I looked at it, and the second Thursday actually runs into the school vacation, so I think we should probably push it, that
Sure,
long
yeah,
weekend.
yep.
I think we should, what we've done in the past is just sort of try to avoid major holidays.
And I put that as, it's typically, but not always, so.
Right.
So if we can at least, once you
Yeah.
review that January, February, March, because I'm already thinking at, going out to March at this point, just by what we have here, which is, I think, a great situation. The feedback has been very positive. Again, you can see, Coachman, the college consultant, Progressions, Air Temple, JCC, those are all confirmed. Brookside was interested, Right Approach was interested in January, Crest was also. So I'm, like I said, literally looking January and then February. We've got a couple in the invited but no reply, which is fine, so at least I'm tracking that. And then the to be invited, we've already got a backlog there as well on the back page that I'm already hesitant to email these people because we're already 2 months out. So I will focus on the 3. Once I hear from you, we'll start locking in some January and February
Yeah,
dates.
absolutely.
And
Okay.
try to, we're I think in a very good position
Okay.
now with, and again, feedback is great. And I thank, again, both Jeremy and Jody for your support in getting us who we are, Kate and Betsy as well. And if any folks have other ideas, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been, anytime I walk into a business, I sort of ask in town, just, and you find it.
And just, I was going to ask, JCC wasn't here. Oh, Grimaldi's too. I did email with him. He's not actually, because he emailed me as a follow-up too, which you'll get to. And once he, revises where he is with his business, I'm going to reach back out to him. And again, that's another one that'll be on the to be invited list, actually.
Right, and then there's a new restaurant, I think, going to open in Antonia, the former Antonia's.
Yes. I don't know what it is or who.
I heard what it is, I just can't remember what it
I
was.
think it's Italian.
They were doing a lot of work. I drove by today
Yeah, I
and
think
saw a
it's
lot of
another
activity.
Italian.
Yeah.
I can't remember where the chef came from, but from somewhere. But anyway, we
Like
shot that as
500
well.
Blake
What?
back in the day.
Oh, but that was
I
a
think
Lake
500
Street.
Blake back
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
day,
exactly, yeah. So, I'm sure he'll come with a following then, because people miss 500 Blake Street. Great.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving on, then, Jeremy, I think, was the only one of the commission who attended the municipal economic development training. at
Yeah.
Oak Lane. So you want to fill us in on?
Yeah, it was definitely well attended. Bob Santi was there from CERC. Jason Kalinowski is a PhD candidate in economics at UConn, and he spoke. And Pat McMahon, who is the economic development officer for the town of Suffield and also serves as a part-time economic development consultant for Windsor Locks. They all spoke. They spoke about a lot of the things that we talk about in our meetings to a greater extent. They talked about some interesting things. Bob Santi may be someone to speak to regarding bringing, he's got, I guess, a large outreach to the international community. Apparently there's a lot of tech-type companies coming out of Israel that are looking for space in the States, and they consider Connecticut, let alone, our neck of the woods, sort of the center of the tri-state region, being tri-state being Massachusetts and New York. They talked a little bit about how we have a nice area down in the commercial district, and that, just in general, business retention is the key to economic development. The one thing that Pat McMahon, and he's a paid economic staffer for town of Suffield, he said he highly recommended it go under advisement that he advises that we look into a part-time economic development staffer for the town, because there's someone that can always sort of be there all the time to do those other things that,
And it's good to know that you mentioned part-time. It seems a lot of communities are doing that, so you don't have to commit to a full-time staff person in the smaller communities like Woodbridge.
The other possibility is having, that staff could be paid, be between a couple different, town pieces where they could work for two different sides and part-time basis on both. So.
I mean, two different towns or
Same town.
with different
within
positions.
areas.
Right.
Yeah.
But possibly the same thing. I've heard more and more of that towns are sharing staff positions as well.
They capped on things, Woodbridge has everything a retailer would want with a high per capita, proximity to the merit, things like that. But overall, they talk about a lot of the things that we're talking about here, and that business retention, which, we're really trying to get involved with our local businesses is the key to growing and to having a strong economic development. So, that's about it.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be there. I know it was Jamie's birthday. I know he wasn't able to be there either. But appreciate you being able to attend and bringing it back to us. And I know we don't have any budget in town budget for we can put it on our wish list for our budget next year when we do budgets. So I guess reach out to Bob Santi and get a number on what that would cost.
Is there a recommendation to invite Bob to a meeting perhaps? Should we think about having Bob or one of the other folks from CERC come to a meeting?
We could certainly do that. Absolutely.
Just in terms, actually I was thinking, in the spot of one of the businesses, perhaps it's in addition to, and we still keep the businesses format and bring Bob to one where we have two or three businesses speaking.
So do you want to see? We could put him on. So he'd be the third, basically.
Well, I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just putting it up for discussion,
Okay.
but it might be very interesting since he was recently here and brought his presentation.
Yeah.
Just like he had Ginny
But
here.
did we have him here, or did we have him, or did we see him speak at something? Maybe it was before. I think I had seen him speak at something then. Okay, yeah, no, we can definitely have him. I'll put that on my list. Then to reach out to him. So moving on to item 5, I attended and Jamie attended the business networking event at November 4th at Grimaldi's. It was quite successful, I thought. It was smaller than the one that we'd had at Wheeler's, but the people who were there were very happy to be there. Grimaldi's sort of, laid out, just offered free hors d'oeuvres to everybody. And I think people were very excited to be there. We also learned a lot about Grimaldi's business and how they make pizza, and finally understand what the difference is between New Haven pizza and Brooklyn pizza. It has to do with, I guess, the cheese, the type of cheese they use. They're Grimaldi's in the process of outfitting their kitchen so they can serve full dinners. and will not just be a pizza place. And so Mike, is that his name? Mike, the owner, is in the process of doing that, and I guess they're going to be launching the new menu in the next 6 weeks. But I think everybody I met there had a very good time. I know we're losing one of the businesses who came to speak before us. The Performing Arts Academy is actually moving to Orange, I think, which is unfortunate. But I spoke with a number of businesses who were interested in coming to speak before us.
Is that Barbara Alexander?
Yes. I think she had a problem, not with Woodbridge. She loved Woodbridge. She had a problem with the landlord and the way he was maintaining the building. She didn't have electricity for a few days. And it seemed to be a recurrent problem. And so when her lease was up, she said, thank you.
But no, thank you.
But no, thank you. But we did hear about the flying trapeze.
Yes. My neighbors. They're moving in on Research Drive.
Yeah. It's quite exciting. I actually looked
They were
at
at the happy hour?
They weren't at the happy
Okay.
hour, but it was what's great about the happy hour is it's really an opportunity to speak with people
No.
in Woodbridge and find out what's going on.
And she's definitely very interested, either December or January, she'll be.
Okay.
Stacy?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
They're looking to move in, I think, December.
I think
I don't even
they've done a lot of build out
Yeah.
already. I think they're at least.
Yeah, we hear the banging
I think
next
they're
month,
like
so.
get going in December 1. Yeah.
I looked at the website because I wanted to see, what classes they had, because I thought, well, this is something interesting,
Yeah.
something new.
Space looks huge.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
huge.
Yeah.
I think she needs to offer some classes during the day, though. But I will when she comes here, I will
I
suggest.
have to keep my staff away during the day. So.
Right. Well, sorry. But it looks really exciting, and I think the space is great, so it'll be fun to have her here. But do you want to add anything to?
Well, I just thought it was interesting that as you mentioned, they're adopting to the community and not just offering the Brooklyn-style pizza, but a traditional New Haven pie. And he also talked about partnering with somebody for delivery services, and I think that would be very interesting as well. So, they're addressing the needs of the community, and I think that's great. And so I emailed with Mike today, and said basically once you get that set up, we'd like to invite you as well to one of these meetings. So.
And the other
It's
thing
on
he
my
mentioned was
shoulders.
he was going to have a full catering menu, so not just takeout, but if people, have holiday parties they want to cater, that or any party, he will have a big enough kitchen to be able to pull in the staff to do that. Great. Jeremy, you're next up. You shared on Facebook. You shared the page. And
Yeah, I mean,
joined?
we created a economic development Facebook page, and we invited you all. I mean, I guess I invited some people that I know that live in town. And I guess the goal of the page is to try to keep it updated with things that we're doing. The next happy hour, or we may want to update it with the business, forum details to try to get some local businesses, and maybe
That's a good idea.
send out the link to the social media page with our next email that we send out. Somehow, we send an email out to the town.
We send an email, when I do the agenda, I send it to the town to be filed with the town. So I don't know if that's the effective way to get it out, but maybe when we are asking businesses to come, Jamie, we can get their Facebook page and somehow link it.
Yeah, we can try to invite
and we
them.
can and we can just announce. That's a great idea. We'll announce each month what businesses we're featuring
Yeah.
and provide the link.
And any of the stuff that Betsy puts on, like she had taken the Air Temple Arts and put them on the news link, and so I'd emailed all of this over to her to let what's her name? Stacy. I'd emailed this to Stacy to say, we have the EDC page and make sure your business is signed up. By the way, we've already run a feature article about your business under our news section, but we could promote that business and any of the businesses that are coming here. I think that's what's going to help build the pages, all the crossover.
Yeah.
And, if she has a Facebook page linked to this one, and we all link.
So if when you send me who's coming, if you send the Facebook link to me, I'll make sure the Facebook link can be a link. I guess it's a link, right, for the Facebook?
Well,
Does it come out like a URL link?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Right.
I just need enough to have Facebook pages. If they do, I can go and sort of search.
Well,
them
no.
out.
So I'm
Through
saying,
EDC.
so if Jamie sends it to me, then I'll put it on the agenda, and you just look at the agenda when it comes out, and just copy it. And,
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm just trying to figure out how the information's going to flow.
Okay.
That'd be great. So thank you for doing that. I passed out the notice of meetings from the FOIA, FOI session, training session we had here. I think it's important. My computer was down this week, and so I didn't have a good scanner. I would have included it in the minutes. Maybe if you can make a copy and make sure it just gets in. So if you can, if you can take a picture or scan it somehow so it goes with the minutes.
Sure.
It's just really important that I think we've been pretty on top of FOIA. The important thing for whoever's acting secretary to know is that if any vote is taken, which includes a vote on approving the minutes, then the record of the vote has to be filed in 48 hours. So basically Saturday evening. The actual minutes don't have to be filed until 7 calendar days. Our minutes aren't that complicated, so I would advise just filing it all at once within the 48 hours and send it to Lynn with a copy, I think a copy of the town clerk? I guess it doesn't matter.
I would
I
say.
thought it went to the town.
Yeah, it has
Yeah,
to go
to Lynn
Stephanie.
and, it has to go with Lynn with a copy of the town clerk, who's Stephanie Sigliaria, which is on, I copy her on everything.
Yep.
So it's on the link.
Got it.
And essentially, all business should be conducted here in public. We can communicate by email about, what we're going to do, but there should be no decisions made over email. There really shouldn't be many discussions over email. To the extent we are the same political party, then you can have more discussion than opposing parties, but my practice is basically everything should take place here in public, and we're really not dealing with anything pressing that can't wait till a meeting. And as we plan the breakfast coming up, there'll be certain communications that happen, off record, but that's really just about getting the event planned, but it won't be anything substantive. Jamie, you were there too. Do you have anything to
Jeremy,
add?
I think, was there too.
Yeah, so you were there too. Anybody have anything else to add? Okay. But it is important that we act in accordance with FOIA. I have really good news on the next item, because it's been on our agenda for a while. I got an update, and we were approved to use the steep grant money for signage for Woodbridge. Tony's in the process now of applying for an extension so that we can use the money after. Right, I don't know when the grant expires, but we don't have enough time to do what we want to do and get a design for a sign in that time. So that's where it is right now. We're approved to use it for signage. Tony's applying for an extension, and then we'll have to figure out going forward how we're going to design the sign. Is that within this commission? Is that within the back offices of town hall? I would like input. I think we should have input into the signage.
I forgot. You asked me last month to send over that PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
I could do that for next month if you
Okay,
want.
yeah, that'd be great.
I forgot.
I did notice there seem to be some new signs in town, like wayfaring signs, but I was surprised because they're metal signs, and I think it was mostly to tell people to come up here. But anyway, we're going to coordinate that, and that's going to be, I think, going forward in the next year, that's going to become a major focus of what we're going to do. And it will take some time at these meetings. Moving on to another item on the agenda that we're lucky that Yaron has volunteered his services. We'd like to do an outreach breakfast in March or April. I don't think we were here last meeting. We would like to avoid the snow days.
Yes.
Because we've tried to do breakfasts during the winter, and it's just impossible.
So I reached out when we were thinking about doing it, November, December, and the response I got was actually very positive.
Okay, great.
To the point where it's people actually, we might need to turn people away.
Really?
So New Haven Field Office from the FBI is interested in
Wow.
doing a presentation. Somebody from DHS is interested in doing a presentation.
DHS being?
Department of Homeland Security.
Wow.
Somebody from the National Office of InfraGard, which is the civilian equivalent to the. It's the civilians working with the FBI on the cybersecurity. So basically, all infrastructure companies, UI, things like that. So we should probably pare it down as to who we want to talk.
Okay.
But it's top-notch people.
Okay.
Make it a series.
Yeah, potentially we could make it a series.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So who's the invitation list for this? The local businesses?
That's what we need to determine, but it's basically, it looks like that.
That's who you're gonna pitch this
yes.
to? It's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. I'm just thinking bigger now. Like,
Yeah.
do we need to go into one synagogue or someplace so we can get a bigger venue? If
Yeah,
we're gonna have
potentially. I mean, the thing around that is,
Right.
especially if
JCC,
What?
the big room that we had the
The
last
big
one.
room at the JCC is, we'd have to have them put the podium up, and it's, I personally, it's not the greatest room for listening to a presentation. It's because it's the stage is kind of wrong, but we can do it at the JCC.
Right. I mean, just from the outreach of, because this is what I do, so it's part of the community I reach out to. The former Chief of Information Security Officer from GE is interested in talking. So I mean, these are all types of people who we can really gain a good audience with.
Okay.
So.
Is this a free event?
It will be a free event. I mean, in the past, it's been a free event. We have a budget to provide. We usually do as a breakfast to provide food. We basically have had 30 people before, so if we're expecting 150 people, we may need to rethink.
Well, the speakers are excited. I don't know about the community though, so that's the thing.
Well, I
We
think it
could
depends on
definitely-
how much we promote it.
Right.
Well, it was something that's been on my mind for a while. I'm actually doing another group as well because it's such a pressing issue. And I think, the folks you're talking about are awesome. And I'm thinking the same thing. I think, maybe we do open it up a little bit bigger. I mean, you can get, the entire state here. I know other groups are doing cybersecurity, but if you bring a lineup or two or three.
Yeah, well, as part of
folks
the speaker series at Woodbridge, I'm doing
Right.
a talk in March
Right.
about about hacking and keeping identity secure and things like that. So it's all tied together.
So it's going to be too confusing if we do a talk in March also, or
Well, I think that's independent. I mean, that's
Okay,
just
fine.
one of the smaller things.
Okay.
I think getting these people would be really
Okay.
beneficial.
Okay, great.
We actually even had interest from former Secretary of Richard Clark. So I don't know if Dick Clark, he was the
Wow,
cyber
yeah,
czar.
yeah.
Yeah. So I happen to be I work with him occasionally, and
Okay.
mentioned this to him, and he said if he's in the area, he'd like to stop by. So
Wow, that's fabulous.
so we have some real
So
need.
how do you want to proceed? Do you want
I
to?
think we need to pare it down a little bit first.
Okay.
Maybe put together some ideas around what the discussion should
Okay.
should be around, and if we want to do, because if we're getting a really big thinker in the area, we should probably give them enough time.
Okay.
But also it needs to be engaging. So I
Right.
mean, your typical, you don't want to give them 10 minutes and be done with it. You want to give them an opportunity to talk. So
I think we also want to make sure it's practical for businesses, so
Right.
it's
Yeah,
informative
that's
for
what I was saying.
businesses.
absolutely.
Cybersecurity around specifically small business.
Yep.
Right.
One of my big concern is the credit card issue of, businesses, whether it's in my business, which is manufacturing, but still 90% of my business is credit card
Yeah,
based.
all
You've
the
got all
PCI
the retail
requirements, yeah.
folks, you've got all the doctor's offices, so, cybersecurity around the businesses and the credit card fraud
Yep.
on the business side. I think that alone is one pressing issue that affects a large majority of the businesses. And that's just one of
Right.
so many different directions you can go with it. But small business and what affects a small business and how these folks can help us address those issues. I mean, you can go on the whole insurance side of it and what sort of insurance protection you need. Obviously on the tech side, the IT side, what you need. So there's a lot of different directions. So I think that's going to be the key. Is how
Yeah.
you get it
Then
down.
from that, taking that as a takeaway, then I'll look through the list again and kind of find the expert who
Okay.
has the broadest knowledge in all those spaces. Potentially, maybe just bring a couple of them in as opposed to somebody to focus on how do you maintain security in your infrastructure versus how do you maintain secure record keeping or whatever, and especially with a lot of medical practices, HIPAA requirements and things like that in the town, all small business related. So
The one thing I'm always surprised at, having my husband had his ID stolen, getting an MRI like 15 or 18 years ago, and at that point I asked I realized what had happened. I called the FBI, I called the Secret Service. I mean, that's who I was put in touch with.
Right.
And it was not a big thing. And I had, at that point, your social security number was actually your
ID number.
Your ID number for medical insurance. So I had demanded that Blue Cross switch our numbers, which they did. And of course now, this many years later, they're not using it. But I'm so shocked how many times I walk into a place and someone asks me for a social security number, and they're like affronted when I say I'm not giving it. So I don't know if I think it would be helpful for just business owners to know that it really isn't appropriate to ask for that anymore, and you really have no need to have that information.
It's all about privacy. Maybe just somebody talking through what the privacy requirements are. I mean, that alone will keep businesses, because when you're asking customer information versus what they're comfortable giving you, we can talk. That could be a whole conversation on its own. So.
And I wonder if it is something that we open it up to our neighboring, business friends. I mean, you don't want to go big, but maybe it's just Bethany and Orange or something.
I think we open it up to the community. I mean, I think I would open it up just to the residents and let Betsy post it on her email and make sure it ends up on the Facebook page, because I think most people here probably own a business or in a medical practice or have are experiencing issues with cybersecurity. So I'd rather see us open it to the home businesses, and
sure.
Because there's potential for expansion into our business area.
So for the next meeting, then I'll have the list pared down with their specialties, and then we can decide as a group who would be the right person to bring in for that first step, for the first.
Oh, great! And then we'll try to figure out dates, and you'll contact them.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. That's
I
exciting.
think that's interesting if you do residents that, because everybody works for somebody,
Right.
So, if you did it that way, and it's not necessarily open to the general public, but, open to the, I don't know how you want to phrase it, because I would be afraid on one hand we get too many individuals thinking it's, to your point about personal protection, we don't want to go down that road. It's about business cybersecurity.
Right.
So I don't know.
But the theories are the same across.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're going to fill a room and it's somebody's going to say something, "Well, I learned about this," and your social security number is the same as your credit card number. It's just still private.
Yeah.
So the methods work across.
Right, and who knows? The residents may visit a business, so it's all about economic development.
So is the location still going to be something we have to discuss?
I think I don't know. We'll find out what the capacity is for the JCC. Maybe if you're talking to them about, find out what their capacity is in that room, and then we'll decide if we want to have it there, because they've already offered, or if we want to go to the church or the synagogue, because those are probably the biggest spaces in town. I think.
The center gym, is that an option, or is that not big enough? I don't know I don't know what the capacity of the different rooms are, 50, 100.
I think the center gym, my guess, is about the same as the JCC.
No, it's much smaller.
It's much smaller, really?
Oh.
Okay.
At the JCC auditorium. But I believe that Paul Klee next week, when he's speaking at the JCC, is not speaking in the big room. There's a smaller alternative.
There is. We use that. We used that for the last few breakfasts.
I don't know how many people that hold.
So that should be too small.
I think it's too small for this.
Maybe 40 at the most.
Yeah, about 40. We put about 40 in there for the Federation meeting. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need the bigger room.
Yeah, and the JCC is certainly convenient to get to. But if we pare it down, then we'll probably do it.
We'll see. Well, I mean, I'll get a list together.
I just got concerned. I mean, some of the names you mentioned are big, potentially big draws.
Right.
And they, we could be a capacity, which is good.
So I think we'll table item 10, which is the discussion of steps to maintaining the data packet, because Rob Leonard had volunteered to be involved in that, and he's not here. So I think we'll wait for him on that. Moving on to the next item, Jeremy, we had discussed, you were taking the lead on this one, I think, the monthly vacancy and occupancy report and commercial properties. And do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to link that to the face? Is that easy to just post on the Facebook page, or is that, what are you thinking?
Well, I haven't really dug too far into it
Okay.
as of yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to get a report of all the commercial property in town, and then it's a bigger process. Concerning the update, it's much easier to I can put together a database of what's for sale and lease in town. It's not that difficult to do.
Okay.
But to update, there are a lot of landlords that, individually lease out their spaces. It could be one, it could be two, they're individual. It's hard to quantify and to identify all the different, for the vacancy and occupancy report.
Well, maybe the goal is just getting occupancy, not percentages, but get as many as, go for the big ones, and then eventually fill in the little ones if you can. I mean, the big one should be easier. And the other thing is, we've spoken, before you came on board, we've met with Ginny Kozowski. Do you know Ginny?
Ginny, yeah, I know.
And it would be really important, once we get this going, that we feed it to her.
Okay.
Because there was an instance we almost lost P2 Science because she didn't know that we had lab space available here. And they were going up to Waterbury. And it was just happenstance that someone said,
it was because of me.
oh, well, you're happenstance then.
I promoted the lab space out, and Kathleen Krolak and I are friends, so she saw that we had lab space and contacted us.
Okay.
And she works with Ginny at.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, great. Good job.
Just to, have the big stuff. We're not if onesie, twosie, the small, it's really, to Jody's point, trying to not lose the next P2 Science.
Right.
It's.
Right, and that's what. So when it comes to commercial properties for sale and for lease, that will give you the occupancy. I mean, that'll show you how much vacancy we have.
Right.
But it won't necessarily show you what percentage of office space in town is occupied versus vacant. It's a tough thing to quantify.
It's fine. I think that we're not competitive about it.
Right.
I think the first step is just getting what's out there, the easy, the low hanging fruit.
If we knew there's 100,000 square foot today, and a year from now there's only 80, well, then we've made improvements.
Right.
As a real simple way to do it. But just to know what's there, I don't know, is that LoopNet? Yeah, does that have everything?
That has nothing
everything.
has everything.
Not everything, but the majority.
No, because if I own a building and I don't want to use a realtor or I don't want to use those sites, I can just do my own leasing.
But then we can't help them. I mean, we can only help those that are
right. But I'm just saying that they're not all going to be on there. But on LoopNet, there's a large quantity of it. On Circ, there's a good number. So I can go through Circ, LoopNet, from what I can get from CoStar and then from the multiple listing service, and just compile a vacancy list for the town. I think
That'd be great. Yeah.
If I'm understanding Jeremy's bill here correctly, this won't help you with the vacancy rate, but from an inventory point of view, the grand list would tell you what you need to know right here in town. Because it breaks out the difference between residential properties and commercial properties, and it's all town-based. I would think that the assessor's office might be helpful. If I understand your goal correctly.
We tried to go to the assessor's office before. It's not that fast. It's not a database that's easy to work with. So I think the goal is to communicate with Circ, or not with Circ, with
Okay.
the goal is simply to identify and get out. I'm not concerned about percentages, because the goal is that we all know what's out there. Not only that we know, that our regional economic exchange, REX, that's what it's called, knows, and that as they get people coming into the area, that they push it to us.
I wasn't sure where you were.
Yeah, no, the statistic would be nice, but that's really ancillary, frankly.
Okay.
Speaking of some people coming in, any news about that marijuana facility? Any developments on that?
I don't know. They had to go back to the state, right? Were you at the board? Were you at the Board of Selectmen meeting with the marijuana facility?
They're not going to have any answer until
January.
the new year.
But
After the new year.
they got approvals from here,
No, they have to get licensed.
The state has to approve them. They're all set with what I guess town-wise, but they have to go, now the state has to approve their application for a license to be.
The earliest, I believe, would be January.
I think it's mid-January or something like that, yeah.
And there was competition for the licenses, so
Yeah,
it
there was
wasn't
competition.
clear, but I think we gave them what they needed from go-ahead for the EDC. I think the Board of Selectmen gave them what they needed for the go-ahead from the Board of Selectmen, and then, right?
They didn't really need anything from us per se.
Okay.
So much as a kind of, we're with you.
Right, yeah, no, right, exactly, it wasn't a formal
Kind of
vote.
positive
Right,
energy.
they needed to know that they weren't gonna have any issues if they decided to locate here. And we all reassured them that there weren't
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah,
Okay. Just
Okay.
curious.
yeah, that's fair.
With respect to the POCD, I spoke with Town Hall about where they are with hiring a town planner, a part-time town planner for it, and that has not moved ahead at this point. So I have nothing more to report on that. Our student, would you like to say anything?
Well, you were talking about a speaker series before.
Uh-huh.
I believe.
Do you want to come sit and introduce yourself to us and to the town?
My name is Joseph Montero. I'm a student at Amity Regional High School.
What year are you?
I'm a senior. And I had some questions about your speaker series. Your name?
Your own.
Oh, your own.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What was the nature of the presentation, which involved someone from the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI?
So this is actually independent. So the speaker series is put on by the town, moderated by the first selectman, and it's different people from everything from Department of Environmental Protection to the president of a Chinese museum. I'm doing a talk on cybersecurity, but what we were talking about was a separate discussion that we're going to put on through the EDC about cybersecurity for businesses, and that's kind of the direction Jamie was going in, is to make sure we cover it for small businesses in town. My background is information security and cybersecurity, so I happen to walk in a circle with these really prolific security minds, and I reached out to them to talk to them about potentially presenting at this event. So, and we got very positive response about that. So that's really where that goes.
Are both of those going to be open to the public?
The town one, the first one, yes, and the second one, I assume will be at some point, yes.
It'll be a breakfast, so you'll have to get permission to miss school to do it. We usually do it sometime around 8:00 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
But your talk is in the evening.
My talk's in the
Right,
evening, yes.
right.
Yep.
So students could go to that?
Absolutely, that's open to anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and if
It's
you
up on the
get
bulletin board, actually.
All right.
The details, so.
and if you get permission to miss school, you're welcome to join us.
Because that seems like the school has a couple computer science programs. I think we even have AP computing now, and so that seems like something that students in the Amity area would be interested in.
Yeah, my company actually particularly, we bring interns in from Amity. So last year we had 3 interns from Amity as part of the intern program. So they're definitely something that I'm sure the community would be very interested in from the high school side.
Are you looking to advertise that further? Because this is the first time that I've heard of it.
Well, our EDC one, I'm sure we will be
We
advertising.
used to one, we will. We're having a Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so I'm not sure how you get on our Facebook page, but like it, and then you will get the notices about the breakfast. The town has an email that they go out, so sign up for the town email, and I know
It's
that.
also on the website.
What?
It's on the website.
Right,
It's also
and
put in
but
the
if you sign up for
bulletin,
the town
yeah.
email, then Betsy Yagla sends out a weekly email, and I know that the evening series has been promoted that way.
It's also in the town, the bulletin.
Is there a way to
that we
put
patch
together
and
a
things like
small
that.
flyer that we could circulate?
For?
Would it go out for that email, or when we send it out from the town?
So for our breakfast, what we've done in the past, what?
There is a flyer.
Okay. For the breakfast, what we've done in the past is
I'll send it for
we have a mailing budget, and we've actually just sent out a postcard with the information. But I welcome any suggestions on how to better communicate it.
Do you do Facebook?
It's been very basic.
No, I don't have my own Facebook, but I'm the president of a club that has a Facebook. So if I needed to check it out, I could just go through that.
But you could also promote it through that as well, perhaps.
Okay.
If you're
What club are
looking-
you president of?
I'm president of the Black Student Organization at Amity.
And the
Thank you.
information, especially, the talk that you're going to be doing would be very interesting if the student population was interested in it. It would would be important to get that message out through the Amity network as well.
I will look into it.
Are you interested in cybersecurity?
No, I'm not.
Okay, just curious.
I was interested in. I'm trying to learn how to code, but science isn't.
Me too.
Science isn't where I'm trying to make a career for myself in. More political science, actually. I just had a question. Because I've heard his name before. Who is Bob Santee? And I know you brought him up during the meeting too.
So his,
He's I have his bio right here. Bob Santee is the president and CEO of the Connecticut Economic Resource Center. So he's
Which is what?
it's the Center for Economic Development and Research. I mean, economic development. So basically, they're the ones that reach out to the whole state, really, and try to bring in businesses to the state and try to help bring businesses to individual towns that are looking for business. And
Where's
he's,
it located? Is there an office somewhere?
their office is in Hartford. I don't know exactly where his office is, to be
I
honest
think
with
it's
you.
in Rocky Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
Alright.
I can give you his bio if you'd like, so you can take a look at it.
I've just heard his name around before, so a big thing that interested me during the recent elections in Orange was how both candidates claimed that they were trying to bring in businesses into the area, especially ones in science and research because those are the highest tax bracket. What is Woodbridge doing to bring in companies like that? You mentioned P2 Science.
So, I think Orange is further along with their economic development resources. I think they have don't they have an economic development person?
They have a separate
They have-
corporation.
Yeah, they have a corporation and they have paid staff. You're looking at what we're doing. And what you've listened to is us talking about trying to get the statistics so we can promote what space is available in town. We have networking events so that businesses can interact with the other businesses. In fact, I just heard recently that because of one of the cocktail parties we had, one of these social gatherings we had, Talking Fingers is now giving one person met Talking Fingers there, someone from Talking Fingers who we've used and has volunteered their services to help promote the town of Woodbridge. They're in Woodbridge, and this person met at this other person at the cocktail party and was involved with a statewide association. So Talking Fingers is now giving a presentation to a statewide association and how to use internet marketing. So our goal, we do a lot of networking basically. Because we are we do not have many funds and we're not able to hire someone, so we're just using online resources to try to figure out ways to promote businesses in town.
Orange's base is obviously a little bit different than Woodbridge. I mean, you look at the Post Road, you look at some of the larger corporations that are in Orange. But we have two documents that I think might be interesting if you're interested. The Yale Urban Design Workshop document, which is on our website, and the new POCD, which is Plan of Conservation and Development. And both of those documents address some of the things that you're asking about. The POCD has a great section on the economy and finance. It talks about our community and some of the long-term plans. It's a 10-year plan that the town just approved within the last year or so, I guess. And so both those documents, POCD and the Yale Urban Design Workshop Plan, are on the town website, and you can download those and read or just read them online as PDFs.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay,
Thank you all.
great. Well, thank you for being here. Any other business? Anybody else want to raise? I just want to mention every year I get a notice from someone in town that we have to do there's a yearbook actually that the town puts out. It's an annual report, and I'm always asked to summarize what we've done each year. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it this year. I usually just go back through the agendas and make sure I cover anything. If there's anything you want specifically to include, if anybody wants to volunteer to write anything, it's pretty tedious. It's one of the there's benefits to being chairman, and there are obligations.
Section on
What?
I could write up a section on the promoting Woodbridge
That'd be
businesses
great.
if you want. I mean, just
Yeah.
to summarize who was here in
Yeah.
15 and
That'd
the
be
fact
great.
that we've got more interest in
Fabulous.
just a paragraph or two.
Okay, perfect.
When do you need that by?
Sooner rather than later.
Week?
Yeah, the next week or two.
Okay.
I mean, they're already asking for it. So yes, and wow, 8:02. I think we can have a motion to adjourn.
So
Second? All in favor?
All right.
It's unanimous. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here.